Welcome to Trendy Flicks, your ultimate destination for the latest in movies, TV shows, and streaming trends. Subscribe now and stay ahead of the entertainment curve.
Fever U penned first-place Lynx in Minnesota as fans show out to cheer on Caitlin Clark. Fans showed up in Minnesota in droves on Sunday, decked out in Caitlin Clark gear to support the Indiana Fever. They were treated to a Fever upset of the first-place Minnesota Lynx, anchored by a big performance from Aliyah Boston. The Fever rallied from a 60-53 deficit to outscore the Lynx by 14 points in the fourth quarter in an 81-74 win. The win was the 8th in 12 games for the Fever, who have bounced back from a 3-10 start to an 11-14 record to work their way into the playoff mix. The Lynx, meanwhile, fell to 16-8, a half game behind the resurgent Las Vegas Aces for first place in the Western Conference. It wasn't necessarily a pro-Fever crowd, but there were plenty of fans at the sold-out Target Center stand supporting the Fever, so much so that Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve was asked about the anticipated influx of Fever fans pregame. Here's what she had to say when asked about expected cheers for the road team. Those predictions played out pregame as Clark made her way around the crowd to sign autographs for fans sporting Fever gear and Clark jersey. The support for Indiana was audible as soon as Clark secured the ball on the opening tip. The Fever then opened a 20-19 first-quarter lead before the game went into halftime, tied at 38. Minnesota then took control in the third quarter as Clark struggled from the field. Clark had 7 points through 3 quarters as the Lynx opened a 60-53 lead before the final stanza. But the fourth quarter belonged to the Fever, who outscored the Lynx 28-14 in the final 10 minutes. Clark opened the fourth with a three-pointer, then gave the Fever a 67-65 lead with a driving layup with under 7 minutes remaining. The Fever took the lead for good at 70-71 on a Boston layup off a Clark assist with 2:54 remaining. When Clark was fouled in the final seconds with the Indiana win in hand, Fever fans made themselves heard. Boston led the Indiana effort with 17 points, 16 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 blocks. Kelsey Mitchell paced the Fever in scoring with 21 points. Clark bounced back from a slow start with 10 points in the fourth for 17 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals. When she was done, Clark tossed her shoes to a fan in the stand. The Clark effect has been felt throughout the WNBA season in the stand. It's only going to amplify as long as the Fever continue to turn their season around. Caitlin Clark's next WNBA game. How to watch the Indiana Fever versus Minnesota Lynx game today. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are finally finding their stride in the 2024 season. This Sunday, the Fever will face the Minnesota Lynx at Target Center in Minneapolis, MN. This will be the first time this season that the Fever and Lynx will meet on the court. Clark will play against the likes Nafisa Collier and Courtney Williams today, tipping off at 4 p.m. ET on ESPN. Are you ready to watch Clark and her team take on Minnesota? Here's what you need to know ahead of the Fever vs. Lynx game. At $90/month, Fubo TV's Elite tier gives you access to ESPN, ESPN2, ABC, CBS, CBS Sports Network, NBA TV, ION, and 200+ more live channel. The live TV streaming service is definitely one of the priciest options on this list, but it still leaves you with major savings compared to a traditional cable package and will get you access to the most